Hi there and welcome to this tutorial. Today I'm going to go over how to quickly customize a feature sheet. So I'm in Lucidpress and I'm going to go to Reinhardt Brand Templates, the third icon down on the left, and I'm going to filter feature and put a check mark next to there so I see all of my feature sheet options. And I'm going to go to a one-page feature sheet, hover and click New. And these are the default settings, so it's asking me what I want to save the file as and where I want to save the file. So I'm going to change the file name to my listing name. And I'm going to save it in my documents. I will click Create Document, and anytime you create a new document from a template, it always opens up in a new tab in your browser. I can see here that this is the name of the document that I chose when I created the document. And what we're going to start doing is changing these photos out, putting text in here for the listing, and then making sure all of our contact information is correct. Most of the templates on Lucidpress have smart fields, so you can tell that they're smart fields by hovering over them, and they have these little brackets around them. And then this is your profile image, so that is also a smart field. This logo is also a smart field. So if you do need to fill out any of these smart fields, you'll see a red bar across the top of this, and it'll say that you have smart fields that you need to fill out. It'll have a little link that you can click, and a window will open up and you can fill out the values for those smart fields. If you want, you can fill out your smart fields in advance by going to your account settings, choosing smart fields, and editing this information and saving changes. Any changes you make in smart fields will automatically be reflected on a document. So let's say I don't have a logo. I'm going to just click on that and delete. And you can zoom in and out by using this plus and minus sign here. And I don't want to have my office phone number. So I'm just going to double click and delete. All right, that looks good. Just move it down so that it's aligned to the bottom of my image. And let's start changing these photos. So you can do this a few ways. You can double click on this image and your image manager will pop open. And if you have a photo in your image manager that you want to use, you can just double click and it will put that right in the photo spot. Another way you can do that is double click on the photo and click Upload, Images, and then choose the file that you want to put on your feature sheet. The third way you can do that is, let's say you have a folder on your desktop with images of this listing. You can click and drag from that folder directly onto this template. And it will upload that photo right there. So when this does upload, it will be saved into your image manager. So these images down here, you can do the same. So this says upload at M0. This image has already been uploaded, and it has this little triangle with an exclamation mark in the center. So it's telling you that you've already uploaded this image. It's already in your image manager, and it doesn't want to create a second copy of this photo in your image manager. So if you click on this magnifying glass, it will open the image manager and find that photo for you. So this happens to be the same image that I used. Because it's highlighted right there, I know that that's the image. So you may want to adjust this photo because it looks like it's cropping the top of the house off. So if you right click and click Crop Image, you can move this house down, and I can only move it down to right beneath that banner. And I want to make sure that the house is not sitting so that there is white space This is your crop, these X marks right here. That's your crop mask. So that's going to mask off any image that you don't want to see. So this part of the image down here, it's going to mask that off. But if my photo is not centered exactly evenly in that crop mask and touching the sides of the crop mask, you will be able to see that white space. So if I had the photo like this and I hit enter to exit that crop view, you can see right here we have white space. The photo is not lined up on the left-hand side. So to change that, a tip that I tell people is just to make sure that your photo is just a little bit bigger than your crop box. So I'm going to scale this up just a little bit and then move it to center and then hit enter. That looks good. And just a note, right now this photo right here is locked in place. So it says, if you hover over this lock, it says position and size locked. So that means you can't move this image, but you can change the contents of the image. If this lock were red, I can change this because I am the administrator. So if it was red, you wouldn't be able to change this image at all. So you will see these locks on most of Reinhardt's templates, and this is just to prevent accidentally shifting this photo so it's not aligned or things like that. If you don't want this locked, all you have to do is come up here to share and choose collaborate with others, and then type admin and select admins here. This goes to myself, Mary Cox, Gura Thibodeau, and Amy Sprague. And you can type a message and hit share, and we will get that message and we'll be able to unlock that template for you immediately. You do have to share the template though, otherwise we cannot do any changes to your document. It needs to be shared. So changing images is very easy. Double click if you have the image in your image manager, select the image you'd like to use. I clicked on that more than once, so that's why it placed another copy. So just delete that. Double click again. And one last change. Okay, so I can make this word say anything I want. So I'm going to make it say gorgeous. I have a subtitle. Okay, and I need to replace this text right here. So I have a property details page open. So I'm going to go to that page and I'm going to copy just the first 2 sentences here, 3 sentences. I'm going to go back and I'm going to paste this text in here. So when I do that, I can see that obviously the text is different than how it looked before I pasted it in here. It has this background behind it and the color is not black. This is gray. So what is happening is it's copying the style of this text on this particular website. It's not only copying the text, it's copying how this text looks. And it's placing it right here on your document. And you don't want that. So a couple of things that you can do, you can select all of this text, make it black, and then hover over this text options icon and remove that highlight. And then we can reduce the size of the text to make it fit. And that should, looks like that text is gray, so we'll change it to gray. That should fix the problem. However, I have come across some agents complaining that when they do download a brochure or a booklet, when they have copied text from online somewhere, the PDF will oftentimes have spaces in it, weird spaces like extra spaces there, an extra paragraph, some text will be larger than other texts, and it obviously doesn't look right. So to avoid that, I'm going to undo until I get to my placeholder text. Okay, so to make it look like this text, to have the Liberation Sands 18 point, I'm sorry, Avenir 10 point, this color, how you do that is you can copy what you want from the website, and we have this website HTML stripper. So I'm going to refresh the screen. And if I paste the text that I want directly in here and click strip tags, now I can copy and paste it in this text box. And now all those tags have been stripped that make it look like the text on this website, and now it reflects the style of the text that the placeholder text had. So that's an easy way to do it. You can also copy this text and put it in an email and email it to yourself. And when you get that email that you've emailed to yourself, copy the text and place it in here. That also strips that text of the HTML tags. So we're going to change the address here. And this straight line here, this is a key, a text, text that you can do on your keyboard. So just shift and that key above your return key should get that there. If you want a bullet point, you can hold down Alt and press 8. That works as well. And then this text, if you don't, these are bulleted items. So you can see that this is in blue right here. You can change the styling of these. So the bullet has an indent of 0.25 inches. I can change that. I can make it so it's indented from the text box. So I can make those closer or farther away if I want. I can change the indent between the bullet and the text here. Or not. This should be working, but it's not. Just testing something out real quick. So if I'm making my own bulleted list, so this text indent should make the text closer to the bullets. And this right here makes the bullets right to the edge of the text box. So you can adjust spacing that way. And then list item space will change the space in between your list items. Okay. So we've changed almost everything on this document. This template has a few more pages. If I did want to change those, again, you just double click and select the image you want to use. And you can change your text by double clicking in the text box. If you don't want all these pages, you just want the first page, or let's say you want this second page as the third page, you can just click and drag. The way you get this thumbnail view is if yours is collapsed, you can hover over this arrow, click on that little arrow, and then you see your thumbnails. So you can shift those around, or you can right click and delete, delete, or you can duplicate a page by right clicking and duplicating. So I'm just going to undo that, delete this page, delete that page, and now I just have one page left. So this looks good to me. Everything's good to go. Now I don't want to print in Lucidpress typically. So you can, but it may take a little while for the file to generate. Since this is an online software, it can't just take this info directly from your document file and just print it out. It has to generate a file to send to the printer. So what you can do is download your document. If it's printing, you always want it to be a PDF. You always want 300 dpi, and then you just click download. If this is a booklet, it's especially important to download this and print it from Acrobat so that you're using Acrobat's native print settings instead of your browser's native print settings. So here I'm using Chrome, and the download is now at the bottom of my browser. If I click on this to print it, this is opening in my browser. I want to point this out because sometimes this happens and someone will open the PDF in their browser and then try to print, especially if it's a booklet and it does not print correctly. You are still using your browser's print settings. I'm going to close that. What you want to do is go to your downloads folder or wherever your downloads are saved and open the file from there. And this will open in Acrobat. And now I can use Acrobat's print settings. If this is a single page, so you could just hit print because it's 8.5 by 11, everything looks good, I can hit print. However, if I wanted to print, if this was a booklet, I could choose booklet. And then if this was an 8.5 by 11 page and I wanted the booklet to be 8.5 by 11, I would want to make sure that this was 11 by 17 so that I can have two 8.5 by 11 pages on an 11 by 17 page. So all of these settings down here will vary depending on the printer you are using. So these settings are for my printer. Your printer will be different. If you're printing from your office, you will probably have more options because those are more advanced printers. So you'll just have to play around with it to see what prints well, what options make it print like how you want it. So the binding might have to be changed, etc. So that is the end of my tutorial. I hope you learned something, and please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.